Hello viewers, today we will discuss the another pharmacokinetic process, that is the drug distribution and its clinical importance. Today's sessions, our learning objectives are that by the end of the session, you all will be able to discuss and describe the distribution of drugs, factors modifying the drug distribution, and clinical importance of drug distribution. So there are four processes of pharmacokinetic processes of any drug, that absorption, then distribution, metabolism of the drug, and after metabolism finally there will be the elimination of the drug. And today we will discuss the drug distribution. This was actually, we will talk about the absorption of the drug when the drug is administered and it moves from the site of administration through this semi-permeable membrane and it reaches into the systemic circulation. This process is called the absorption of the drug. And when from this blood circulation, the drug, or that is the intravascular compartment, the drug distributes to, or it moves to, the interstitial fluid compartment. This phenomena is known as the distribution of a drug. This distribution of a drug is reversible, that either the drug distributes from the intravascular compartment to the extravascular interstitial fluid compartment, or from the interstitial fluid compartment to the intravascular fluid compartment. So that's why we call it as the reversible phenomena. Now here question arises that what is the volume of distribution? And when anyone asks the question, majority of the students, they reply that it's the amount of drug which is distributed. It is not the amount of the drug. The dose, amount, or the concentration of a drug has nothing to do with the volume of distribution. Volume of distribution is actually the availability of the drug, whatever the dose, whatever the concentration is, but the availability of that drug in the compartment, the fluid compartment, and what is the volume of that compartment. In this situation, if the drug remains intravascularly, might be the drug has a larger molecular size, might be the drug get attached with the plasma protein, so have a bigger molecule which could not crosses the gap junctions of the endothelial lining, so the drug remains inside the blood. In this situation, we can say that the volume of this compartment, that is the plasma compartment, is 4 liters. So the volume of distribution of this drug is just 4 liters. In another situation, if the drug is a small size molecule, it distributes to the extravascular interstitial fluid compartment, then the volume of distribution of this drug is, that is, first it distributes to the plasma, so the volume of this compartment is 4 liters, and then it distributes to the interstitial tissue compartment or the fluid compartment, and the volume of this compartment is the 10 liters. So the volume of distribution of this drug is 4 liters of the plasma and the 10 liters of the interstitial fluid, that is the 14 liters. So the volume of distribution of this drug is 14 liters. In the third situation, if the drug first reaches the intravascular compartment, then it moves to interstitial fluid compartment, then it moves to the intracellular fluid compartment, the drug has more wider distribution, the drug has more wider volume of distribution. And volume of distribution in this situation, that first it goes to plasma, volume of this compartment is 4 liters, then the drug goes to the interstitial fluid compartment, the volume of this compartment is 10 liters, and then finally it goes to intracellular fluid compartment, and the volume of this compartment is 28 liters. So the total volume of distribution of this drug is 42 liters, that is the in normal person of the 70 kg. So in this situation, there is more broader volume of distribution of a drug, more efficient distribution of the drug. Drug can distribute to each and every compartment. It accumulates inside the cell, so it can reaches to the site of action, and it produces the more therapeutic effects. And if the drug has more wider volume of distribution, if it distributes extravascularly, then the half-life of a drug is more, and that we will discuss when we will discuss the plasma half-life of a drug. Now, there are three drugs. Drug A is 100% fat soluble, the drug B is 100% water soluble, and the drug C is 50% water soluble and 50% fat soluble. Now, if we raise the question that which drug distributes more efficiently, and I am 100% sure that majority of the students, they will reply the drug A, because the drug is fat soluble. Now come to discuss the answer of this question. Suppose the drug is 100% fat soluble. It remains inside the intravascular compartment, because this interstitial fluid compartment is watery in nature. So this watery compartment doesn't allow this fat soluble drug to get entry and distributes in the interstitial fluid compartment. So the volume of distribution of this drug is just 4 liters. It just remains inside the intravascular compartment. In this interstitial fluid compartment doesn't allow the drug to be distributed to the extravascular compartment. In another situation, if the drug is 100% water soluble, then yes, this water solubility allows this drug to get distributed into the interstitial tissue compartment or the fluid compartment, because the drug is water soluble. But the drug will not distribute inside the cell intracellular fluid compartment, because this cellular membrane doesn't allow the water soluble drug, that is 100% water soluble drug, to get accumulated inside the intracellular fluid compartment. So again, the distribution of a drug is restricted in this situation. So what about the last situation, that was the drug was 50% water soluble and the 50% fat soluble? That the 50% water soluble portion of the drug allows to distribute to the interstitial fluid compartment, because this compartment is the watery in nature, and the fat soluble portion of the drug that allows this drug to cross this cellular membrane, and drug reaches inside the cell, accumulate in the intracellular fluid compartment. So if the drug is 50% water soluble and 50% fat soluble, and then the drug has more wider volume of distribution, more distribution of a drug to each and every fluid compartment. So I am getting you back to our last discussion when we were talking about this pKa. That was the pH of the medium, where the half of a drug was uncharged, half of a drug was charged, half of a drug was unprotonated, fat soluble, half of a drug was protonated, water soluble. Now the clinical importance of this pKa is that at that pH of the medium, which splits the drug into two halves, one half is the water soluble, another half is the fat soluble. So the water soluble portion of the drug facilitates the drug to distribute to the interstitial fluid compartment, and the fat soluble portion of the drug facilitates the drug to get accumulated and distribute intracellularly in the intracellular fluid. So there will be more efficient distribution of the drug. Drug will accumulate inside the cell, and it produces more pronounced therapeutic effects. Now, how we will calculate the volume of distribution? That volume of distribution is concentration of a drug in the body will be divided by the concentration of drug in the plasma. That what is the dose of a drug administered in the body is divided by the concentration present in the plasma. So we have two scenarios. In this scenario, we administered 10 units of the drug. Among these 10 units, only 2 units of the drugs remain intravascularly, while the 8 units of the drug, they are distributed to the extravascular compartment. Now, according to the equation of the volume of distribution, the total concentration of a drug is 10 units. It is divided by the concentration of a drug in the plasma or the fluid, intravascular fluid compartment. So the volume of distribution of this drug is 5 units. More drug distributes to the peripheral tissue. That's why the drug has more wider volume of distribution. What is the another scenario? In the another scenario, we administered the same 10 units of a drug. Among these 10, this 8 units of the drug we get inside the plasma or the blood, that is the intravascular fluid compartment, and just 2 units, they are distributed extravascularly. So if we apply the same equation in this situation, that the total drug administered, concentration of drug administered or in the body is the 10 units, and we get 8 units in the blood or the plasma, and the volume of distribution is just 1.25 units. That is a very restricted or the narrower volume of distribution of this drug. And this has a very important impact on the plasma half-life of a drug. So, what are the factors? They're very important that contributes to the distribution of the drug. On the top and the most is the solubility. When we are talking about the solubility, it means we are talking about the water solubility and the fat solubility. And we have discussed right now that the drug who has the both equal solubilities, water soluble as well as the fat soluble, they distribute more efficiently in different watery compartments. Another factor is the vascularity and the blood flow. Because the blood flow of the drug and the blood flow to the each and every organ is not uniform. Like kidney, the liver, the central nervous system, they have more established blood flow as compared to the adipose tissues and skeletal muscles. So the distribution of the drug in the brain, in the liver, in the kidney is more than the skeletal muscle and the fats and the adipose tissues. And this is very much important in case when the drug is highly lipid soluble, so it leaves the intravascular compartment more quickly to and distributes towards the extravascular compartment, and when it moves towards the extravascular compartment, again they move towards the intravascular compartment, and again the drug is available for the redistribution, and this phenomena we call it as the redistribution. And because of this redistribution, there will be more pronounced effects, duration of action will be the more. Then there will be the capillary structure. Last time we have talked about the different barriers like a blood-brain barrier that holds the water-soluble drugs and allows the fat-soluble drugs. And some of the hepatocytes, the liver has been very gap junctions. Each and every type of drug, they get distributed easily. So this capillary structure has a very important impact on the distribution of a drug as well. In the last, the most important is the plasma protein binding, that we will discuss in a coming session, that what is actually the plasma protein binding and what is the impact of this plasma protein binding on the distribution of a drug and the plasma half-life. So if we will conclude our today's session, so we can say that we have discussed that what is the distribution, just the movement of a drug from the blood to the peripheral tissues or from the peripheral tissues to the drugs, and different factors. Very important is the molecular size is important, plasma protein binding is there, solubility, water solubility and the fat solubility is there, the flow of blood is very important, the capillary structure is very important, and the clinical importance of this distribution is the more the distribution, wider the volume of distribution, the plasma half-life is more, narrower the volume of distribution, the plasma half-life is less. So this was whole about today's discussion. Thank you very much.